Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare. Gopi Jana Ballava Giribaradhare. Gopi Jana Ballava Giribaradhare. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yamunatira Vanachare. Yamunatira Vanachare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare. Gopi Jana Ballava Giribaradhare. Gopi Jana Ballava Giribaradhare. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yamunatira Vanachare. Yamunatira Vanachare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare. Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada. Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Vishnupada, Paramaham, was a periphragic Charya, status, Srimad, His Divine Grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki. ISKCON's founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Shri Radha Radhanath ki. Shri Giri Govardhan ki. Shri Caitanya Mahaprabhu ki. Sankirtan Yagya ki. Go Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 7, the sacrifice performed by Daksha, text 36. Yajamani Uvacha Swagatam Te Prasidesha Tubhyam Srinivasa Shriya Kantaya Trahi Na Twam Rite Disha Nangar Makha Shobhate Shirsha Hina Ka Bandho Yata Purusha Yajamanyuvacha Swagatam te prasidesha. Interesting. Swagatam te prasidesha tubhyam namaha. Srinivasa Shriya Kantaya Trahinaha. Twamrite Disha Nangaya Makashobate. Sher Sahina Kabando Yata Purusha. Yajamanyavacha Swagatam te prasidesha tubhyam namaha Srinivasa Shriyakantaya Trahinaha Twamrite Disha Nangarmaka Shobhate Shersahina Kabando Yata Purusha Yajamanya Vacha Swagatam te prasidesha tubhyam namaha Srinivasa Shriyakantaya Trahina Twamrite Disha Nangaramaka Shobhate Shersahina Kabandho Yata Purusha Mataji's. Yajamani, the wife of Daksha, Uvacha, prayed, Suagatam, auspicious appearance. Te, your, prasida, become pleased. Isha, my dear Lord. Tubhyam, unto you. Namaha, respectful obeisances. Srinivasa, O abode of the goddess of fortune. Shriya, with Lakshmi. Kantaya, your wife. Trahi, protect. Na, us. Tvam, you. Rite, without. Adisha, O Supreme Controller. Na, not. Angai, with bodily limbs. Maka, the sacrificial arena. Shobhate, is beautiful. Shershahina, without the head. Kabandha, possessed of only a body. Yata, as. Purusha, a person. Translation: the wife of Daksha prayed as follows: My dear Lord, it is very fortunate that you've appeared in this arena of sacrifice. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, and I request that you be pleased on this occasion. The sacrificial arena is not beautiful without you, just as a body is not beautiful without the head. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Another name of Lord Vishnu is Yagyeshvara. In Bhagavad Gita it is said that all activities should be performed as Vishnu Yagya, for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu. Unless we please him, whatever we do is the cause of our bondage in the material world. This is confirmed herein by the wife of Daksha, who says, without your presence, the grandeur of the sacrificial ceremony is useless, just as a body without the head, however decorated it may be, is useless. The comparison is equally applicable to the social body. Material civilization is very proud of being advanced, but it is actually the useless trunk of a body without a head. Without Krishna consciousness, without an understanding of Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, any advancement in a civilization, no matter how sophisticated, is of no value. There is a statement in the Hari Bhakti Sudadaya, chapter 3, verse 11, Bhagavad Bhakti hinasya jati shastram jabastapa apranasyaiva dehasya mandanam lokaranjanam. The purport is that sometimes when a friend or relative dies, especially among lower class men, the dead body is decorated. Dressed and ornamented, the body is taken in procession. That sort of decoration of the dead body has no actual value because the life force is already gone. Similarly, any aristocracy, any social prestige, or any advancement of material civilization without Krishna consciousness is as good as the decoration of a dead body. The name of the wife of Daksha was Prasuti, and she was the daughter of Swambhuva Manu. Her sister, Devahuti, was married to Kardama Muni, and Kapila Dev, the personality of Godhead, became her son. Prasuti then was the aunt of Lord Vishnu. She was asking the favor of Lord Vishnu in an affectionate mode, since she was his aunt. Since she was his aunt, she sought some special favor. Also significant in this verse is that the Lord is praised with the goddess of fortune. Wherever Lord Vishnu is worshipped, naturally there is the favor of the goddess of fortune. Lord Vishnu is addressed as Amrita, transcendental. The demigods, including Brahma and Lord Shiva, were produced after the creation, but Lord Vishnu existed before the creation. He is addressed, therefore, as Amrita. Lord Vishnu is worshipped with his internal energy by the Vaishnavas. Prasuti, the wife of Daksha, implored the Lord to turn the priests into Vaishnavas instead of simply fruitive workers performing sacrifices for some material benefits. Yes. So, Yajaman Yuvacha. And just as a little point of Sanskrit grammar, since some of you, I think, are or were studying grammar, if you can read the Sanskrit, you'll see that the Yajamani Uvacha is actually Yajaman Yuvacha, as in YU. They're joined together. If you look in the Sanskrit, you'll see that it's Yajaman Yuvacha. So, okay, Yajaman Yuvacha. Swagatam te prasidesha tubhyam namaha, Srinivasa Shriya Kantaya Trahina, Twamrate Disha Nangayar Makashobate, Shershahina Kabandho Yata Purusha. I must admit that the verse itself, to get the meter right was not easy. In fact, I don't think we got it right. Right. Translation. The wife of Daksha prayed as follows: My dear Lord, it's very fortunate that you have appeared in this arena of sacrifice. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, and I request that you be pleased on this occasion. The sacrificial arena is not beautiful without you, just as a body is not beautiful without the head. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharne Niravishesha Shunyavadi Paschachadesh Sri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Yes, so Prasuti, the sister of Devahuti, who was the wife of Lord Kapila, of course, who we just read about not so long ago as we're going through just a little earlier parts of the Bhagavatam. So they're sisters. Shri Radha Radhana Shri Giri Govardhan Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. They're sisters, therefore in a certain sense of understanding, because Lord Kapila is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is one in many, but it doesn't mean that he's not one. He's definitely one in many. He's one in very many, actually. So now the Lord has appeared with Lakshmi, Srinivasa Shriya, Srinivas, the abode of the goddess of fortune. And the Srivas means exactly the same thing. Srinivas, Srivas, it's the same thing. Sometimes in Caitanya Bhagavat, I think more than maybe Caitanya Charitamrita, occasionally Srivas Thakur is addressed as Srinivas. Can get a little confusing sometimes. But anyway, yes, Srinivas, you are the abode, and Nivas, because Vas just means place of residence. Nivas, it means the same thing, but there's also a sense of shelter and protection as opposed to just where you live. Where do you live? What's your address? Something like that. Nivas means, really like a residence, as they say in England. An Englishman's home is his castle. I don't know if you ever heard that one. Yeah, an Englishman's home is his castle, because it's just, that's his castle. That's really the place. Whereas home is where the heart is. That's really where his heart is. Usually too much. But yeah, and it's different from just where you're living at the moment sort of idea. Yeah. Srinivas and Srivas. So the Lord came. Srinivas, Shriya. Shriya Kantaya. Yes. Lord came with his wife, Lakshmi Devi. So Prasuti, who is, anyway, the sister of the wife of the Lord, in another form, but as Kapila, but as we said, it's one. This has to be understood and has to be there in the mind. When we talk about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has so many forms, he has unlimited forms, and there are different degrees. Well, we can say that in different of these forms, he manifests himself and his potencies, his powers, his abilities, and so on, to different degrees. Just like we read in the famous 1:328, First Canto, Chapter 3, verse 28, that the Lord is there. The Lord appears in many forms. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna's the original form, but still the Lord appears in many forms. And some of them are Kala, and they're different terms. They're partial forms. They're parts of parts. They're parts of parts. There's parts of parts of parts. And there's even Shakyavesh, where they're not even forms of the Lord. They're just people. but he has empowered them with his Shakti, a particular Shakti. And because those Shaktis are also non-different from him, therefore they are considered to be avatars, Shaktyavesha avatars, just because of the presence of some power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And they're all glorious. Shortly we're going to be in this 4th canto discussing about Maharaj Prithu. He is such a person. He's such a person that he's a jiva, like you and me. But he is empowered by the Lord's, Srila Prabhupada says, by the Lord's dushta shakti. Dushta shakti means the Lord's power to chastise the demons, of course. But then there's Srila Vyasadeva, and he's sometimes a little different, but Parashara Muni in Vishnu Purana, Parashara Muni makes the point that Parashara Muni, he says, I was the Vyasadeva in the last cycle of the 4 yugas. I was the Vyasadeva. But now, Dvaipayana, that's the name of Srila Vyasadeva, like as given by his parents. Now Dvaipayana is the Vyasadeva, and Parashara was still living. And he says, but now in this case, Dvaipayana, as Vyasadeva, he is Sakshad Narayan. He is actually the Lord himself. Not just that a person's become empowered, but now this is actually the Lord himself. So, but anyway, the point is, ete changsa kala pumsa, ete, all of these forms of the Lord, because this is coming at the end of the list of all the avatars in the 3rd chapter of the 1st canto. Ete cha, all of them, ete changsa kala, they're all either parts of the Lord or parts of the Lord, of Pumsa. Pumsa means the Lord. But Krishna's too, Krishna's too, Bhagavan Swami, he is actually the Lord himself. So here we have the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Vishnu has appeared with Lakshmi, but he is non-different from Kapila, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one of those particular types of forms. So therefore, and his wife is there, Lord Vishnu's wife is there. Therefore, Prasuti is referring, because she is referring to Lakshmi as her aunt. Yeah, you're my aunt. So, anyway, so she's praying that, and of course, in a sense, she has a self-interest. She's the wife of Daksha, and therefore, she would like the sacrifice to go on. The sacrifice was going on. Suddenly, the sacrifice was interrupted, and really just in a very drastic way, it was interrupted, but it could still go on. Yeah. No, actually the way Prabhupada puts it is, the name of the wife of Daksha was Prasuti, and she was the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu, and her sister was married, Devahuti was married to Karadama Muni. Kapila became the son of Devahuti, so Prasuti is the aunt of Lord Kapila, and now Lord Kapila is here in a different form as Lord Vishnu, so she's the aunt of Lord Vishnu. Means she's got a lot of nephews. All the forms of Lord Vishnu are her nephews. Talk about having a big family. Yeah. So she wants the sacrifice to go on, and she knows that Lord Vishnu is the Lord, the master of sacrifice. In fact, Lord Vishnu's one name is Yagya. Yagyartat karmanon yatra, lokoyam karma bandhana. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna makes the point that life has to be performed in the context of yajna. Sacrifice has to be there. Otherwise, you have to perform your activities as sacrifice for the Supreme Lord Vishnu. Otherwise, your activities bind you to this material world. Therefore, you should perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you'll always remain unattached, unentangled, and free from bondage. So yes, that has to be there. And therefore, Prasuti, the wife of Daksha, by the mercy of the Lord, who is the Lord of sacrifice, and the master of Lakshmi, who is opulence personified, she wants some favor, some mercy. She wants some mercy from her nephew. Since I'm your aunt, then you should do something for me. You should see that this sacrifice can go on and be performed successfully. Yes, and that's in your interest because you're the master of sacrifice, but you should do it at my request because I'm your aunt, and you should do things if your aunt wants you to. So, Srila Prabhupada makes the point here that what Prasuti is saying is we want the sacrifice done. We want it to be done very gloriously. And since you are here, the sacrifice could be done very gloriously. Because she knows, as her husband Daksha knows, that they were going to do this, they were doing the sacrifice, but the presence of the Lord, the whole situation was inauspicious because Lord Shiva was not being offered anything through the sacrifice. And even though the Lord may have been there, but he would not have been satisfied. And as a result, everything got destroyed. So without you, without everything being done nicely, without your presence, without Lord Shiva being happy, this sacrifice, even if we do it, it's going to be useless. Just like a body without a head, it's a pretty dramatic example to give. Prabhupada then refers to the social body. Material civilization is very proud of being advanced technologically, and they're doing research in all sorts of ways. I just saw the other day, well, of course they're trying to go to the moon, they're trying to go to Mars. Hare Krishna. We wish them the best of British luck. The Britishers haven't made it there yet, though. But we know what Prabhupada said about such attempts. So they're trying to do all these things which by their standards take great advancement. Yeah, technological, mechanistic types of advancement. But it's just like, but without Krishna consciousness, all those attempts are in terms of the social body of civilization as it is manifest now, it's going to be just like decorating a dead body. As Gandhi said famously, or he was asked, what do you think of Western civilization, which probably meant more British civilization at the time? And Gandhi famously replied, I think it would be a good idea. Yeah. Which, he missed the point in many ways, but he got that point. He got that point. So yes, without Krishna consciousness, without the Lord being there in the center, then any advancement in a civilization, Srila Prabhupada says, doesn't matter how sophisticated, technologically advanced, you can have a computer the size of this one, or even just like your telephone. Everybody nowadays has at least one telephone usually, often two, because you need one for each hand sometimes. But just the one telephone, what to speak of something, larger like this, is more powerful than the first computers they made, which were just mechanical devices, which filled a room, anyway, like sort of your a fair-sized room, would more than fill Srila Prabhupada's room. Yeah, your telephone now has more power. You're a powerful person there. Another Prema Gali. Yes. So people think, gosh, this is amazing. Truly amazing. Yes, but despite how impressive it may be in certain terms, without all of this being engaged in Krishna's service, it's just like a body without a head. I've not seen, in real life, a body without a head. I don't know if any of you have. You were a soldier, maybe you did. But, I'm sure it's really ghastly. It just, to the average type of sensibility, it's really like sickening and so shocking. Sometimes we joke that people ask us sometimes, I'm sure we've all been asked on certain occasions, could you lend a hand? Could you give a hand? And if you say, sure, you want a hand? Here, and whack, you cut off your hand. Here, take it. It's going to be shocking. But without a head, that takes it, the same sort of idea to a different level. But actually, that's what it's like. It's a whole shocking arrangement, and you see if you analyze a little more in depth what is going on behind the scenes in material so-called civilization, it's shocking. Like one thing I read quite some years ago, at least 10 years ago probably, is that we all know about Hollywood, we all know about Bollywood, the movies, and it's very big. It's just really, really big. But I read some years ago that pardon me mentioning it, the pornographic movie business is bigger than Hollywood. Yeah, that's what the report said. I think it was CNN, so it must have been right. That's a joke, by the way. But, even if it's not, if it's accurate, what does it say about current day civilization? But even if it's not accurate, even if it's just a half, even if it's just a quarter or a tenth, how does it reflect on material society? It's just too degraded. And, there are other things I just wouldn't even mention. But it's ghastly to any civilized person. These things are ghastly. Just like a body without a head, it's really like ghoulish. Just, horrible. Very low and very horrible. But Prabhupada makes the point that there's a practice, especially among lower class men, but now it's not just among lower class men. It's very common, at least in the Western world, someone dies, and at the funeral, our Queen Elizabeth II, her body is lying in state right now at this very moment in, I guess, Westminster Cathedral or Westminster Abbey, whatever. And for 4 days, for 4 days. And surely her body has been dressed up in some queenly type of presentation. This is normal now. That when someone dies, they dress the body up in like their best suit of clothes. Of course, we do with devotees too, usually, but it's somewhat different. But this practice here, that the decoration of a dead body, just really like putting jewelry and things like this, it has no actual value. It has no actual value. And then they cremate the body with the clothes on and everything. So, it's a waste. So therefore, Prabhupada makes the point, any aristocracy, I was glancing occasionally when Queen Elizabeth died, and there were all these relatives, members of the aristocracy, the Earl of this, the Count of that, the Duke of something else, and even, what's his name? Anyway, the one son of Diana, the older one, he's now the Prince of Wales. He was the Duke of Cornwall. Now he's been elevated to the Prince of Wales. Haribol. What a benediction for Wales. But it's just a title. And one thing I discovered some years ago is that you can buy a title. You can become the Earl of something, because these lines, some of them have just stopped because the last person died, and you can buy one. You can become the Earl of Chatsworth or the Duke of Phoenix or something. But what does it? But then you have to, every year you have to pay a fee to keep the title. So what's the point? What's the value? So Prabhupada says, any aristocracy, social prestige, without Krishna consciousness is as good as the decoration of a dead body. Yes, so anyway, fortunately they've come to their senses, they've apologized to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva has been, fairly nice about it. He didn't become too excited when they apologized to him, but he accepted it. And now the Supreme Personality of Godhead is there. So anyone within whose life the Supreme Personality of Godhead is there, such a person is fortunate. And that's really the only reason for their good fortune, or the presence of devotees, devotional service, but it's all focused on the Supreme Personality of Godhead's presence. That makes it valuable, a valuable life. Just like Srila Prabhupada said, all different types of material assets, your bank balance, your motor car, your second motor car, your third motor car, your house, your second house, etc. These are all zeros, but people are very proud. I've got more money than you, I've got more cars than you, I've got more houses, I've got more children than you. Actually, what they're saying is, I've got more zeros than you. Yes, I've got more zeros. But you can have as many zeros as possible. But if there isn't at least a 1 in front of them, it's 0. And the idea that I'm benefited by that larger number of zeros than others, that's a classic illusion. And it's just typical of the material situation. It's just typical of the material civilization. Yes. So now the Lord has come. And so everything, with Lakshmi Devi, I actually read the purport of this verse by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, just a little purport he gives, and he says that Prasuti is thanking the Lord for coming, particularly because he brought Lakshmi. So the Lord being there, that's nice. But Lakshmi came too. That's good. And so it's a little, may not be entirely pure, but that's what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, that she is happy because the Lord is there, but particularly because he brought Lakshmi with him. So yes, so we're fortunate to have the blessing of Krishna consciousness despite everything else that was there in our lives in the past. That's the mercy of the Lord. Therefore our lives have become auspicious. Hare Krishna. Any comments or questions? Maharaj. Jai Sachinandan Prabhu.
Thank you, Maharaj, for class. You mentioned all the zeros add to nothing. I was thinking of Queen Kunti's prayers when she was praying, what's the use of this high education, taking birth in high birth, wealth, if they do not provoke attraction for the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah, they actually become obstacles. Yeah, true. Yes, thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.